I'm quite bad at public speaking. Thank you so much for coming. It really means so much to me, and it's quite a psychedelic experience being with people, and I truly never thought that anyone would hear this. And I did a lot of psychedelics while I did this. So I wish I had some for you, but it's a quite depressing album, but quite short. So I'm sure we can suffer through it. And I recommend you to close your eyes and think about the one who fucked you up. Cheers. Sorry.
How's everyone's mood?
I kind of wish that it was really dark in here and that we were maybe in my house laying on the carpet. But
maybe next time.
I'm sorry about that.
So my name's Michael Cragg. I'm a music journalist. I interviewed Lykke in 2018 for the last album, which, given everything that's happened, feels about 25 years ago. So when did you start? Obviously, you went on tour for that album. There's lots to do around that. So when did you sort of start thinking about a new album? Like, when did you start working on what would become EYEYE?
Well, after every tour, I'm kind of like, I can never do this again. I'm done. I'm over. So I was laying in my bed, as usual, completely exhausted, and I was listening to a voice memo that I just done, and I was like, why the fuck do I always fuck it up? And like go into a studio and produce it and kind of go somewhere where I don't even know where it ends up. So it was very much, for me, like, I'm gonna retire, but I can't go out like that, so I need to do one album that I actually like for myself.
But you're not retiring. This isn't.
I hope so.
Okay. Wow. Exclusive.
Everyone is like, no one's gonna stream it, so probably I can't retire, but I hope.
I'm intrigued by the album title. Like, how soon into the process of making it did you come up with that, and what's the significance of how it's sort of formatted?
That one came quite late. When the working title was first lo-fi, just to keep it very lo-fi, and then kind of I started realizing that the story that I was writing was the movie. So then the other title was The Movie Is You and I, and then I'm like, And then when me and Theo came up with a concept about the loops and that I am stuck in some sort of repetition, and if you will see soon, I'm releasing all the videos. There will be 7 videos where I am stuck, very similar to my own reality. So I wanted a palindrome, and the album too, I wanted everything to land on like a God frequency, 33.33. Like I was very interested in symbolism. So I wanted a name that you can read back and forth, but also to me, it is a visual album, and but mostly when you take, like, you can close your eyes, and I hope that you felt that it was a bit more 5-dimensional, hopefully. So it kind of, I feel like I was creating the album with my third eye, and also I as in self, and I as a place you go, like a landscape or a drug. So, like.
And so what is it about the kind of loops and cycles and patterns that kind of interest you, like within the context of the album? Like, what do you mean when you sort of say you're stuck in a loop?
Well, I was laying on my floor, like crying over some like idiot, and like, I'm gonna, like, fuck him, and then and then I started writing all these songs, and I'm like, I cannot do another album about heartbreak. And like the whole cycle is like, you do the album, you mix, you master, you cut off your hair and go blonde and like go on stage, and then like, I'm retiring. So it's like, I was like, this is too much, even for me. And for you, I know. So I kind of was like, okay, I think I've been obsessed about like trying to write the perfect love songs ever since I started. Like, it's very similar to like my poems that I did when I was a kid. So then I also was like, as we do, like, I'm on Instagram and like watching someone falling down like 20 times, and I'm like, this is genius. Like, there's something about the shortness of a repetition that tells like a whole story, and that's also very much how we live. Like, we see a picture of someone, or we see like, I mean, we're living in this world where we just get like a loop of something. So instead of kind of fighting it, me and Theo were like, because we were gonna do a movie or maybe a music video, and then it's like no one gives a shit, you know? And it's true. I don't give a shit either. So then we're like, why don't we take the world that we're living in and try to make something beautiful out of it, to cram in the whole story, but also like the metaphors, the movie within a movie, and try to tell this grand story about love in these, you know, loops. Which you will see, they do really add up in the end. We actually had to write a whole movie in the movie to only do these scenes. So like every form too, like every part of this, we got stuck. Like we were like, what if we edited it this way? And we would spend like months like editing a loop, or like mixing like one chicada. So yeah.
And so obviously, as you say, like a heartbreak album from Lykke is not new.
Usual.
Like that's what people expect. Did you want this, if this is maybe going to be your sort of, well, I guess conceptually you're looking at the breakup album whilst also writing a breakup album. It's all within like one thing. Did you want this to be the sort of ultimate Lykke
Yeah,
heartbreak
like
album?
if I have to go out, I want to go out in style. And like for myself, I was also I felt like I never really was comfortable in the studio before, like doing vocals. Everything has to happen so fast, and I think probably all of you feel the same, that in COVID we had so much time to think about what we want to do, and I spent months like sitting behind Sean Everett being like, can we move, you know? So like time is everything. So to spend so much time on something and really like, it's not good yet. It's like I kept going so far into my own dream that it was like, okay, I think maybe this is, but maybe we should ask them if they even like it. I don't know.
We'll get to that.
We do.
This is my best work, and you're like,
You mentioned lockdown, and did you become obsessed with Michael Mann's Heat?
I mean,
Film.
I've always been obsessed with that one.
But you
Yeah.
watched it a lot, right?
I watched it maybe 10 times, and then when we were mixing, we had it on all the time, because I don't know if you know about that movie, but it's quite the perfect movie.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah.
How did that feed into the album or the
It
videos?
didn't
Or
feed in, it was more that like, it's perfect. Like when I watch it, I like the opening shot is just like, and then like Robert De Niro, there's love, it's like beautiful, it's sex and love and power, and like, it's so multi-layered, so I just needed to mix to it to kind of, you know.
And how was that mixing process? Because wasn't it done to tape rather than?
Yeah, the mixing process. So what was hard was that I recorded it in my bedroom on a mic that's even worse than this mic. Like a really bad mic, like sitting on the floor, no headphones. So there was like so much bleed, and like me and Bjorn was playing everything at the same time. There's like a dishwasher, just like. So when I gave it to Sean, it was quite interesting that the quality of everything was so bad, but the only thing that I cared about was like, no, but this was the take. Like I had written it 1 second before. There was like a voice memo, like I will never be able to top this feeling, because I was actually like dying at the time. So we decided to, instead of trying to re-record everything fancy, like he spent so long just like tuning out like frequencies, putting on tape, back on tape, through an amp. We put a condom on the mic and like put it underwater, you know, like really to kind of paint. I feel sometimes things can be very two-dimensional, and the world is like, you know, we are here and we hear so many sounds, and there's the past and the future, so I wanted something quite like that.
In what way is it a reaction to your last album? Because you said like, I mean, there couldn't be two more polar opposite albums in
No.
terms of like you worked with sort of huge producers on the album. It kind of had this trap, quite shiny feel to it. Like,
Yeah.
do you react against that, or do you not really work like that?
Oh, I really got, yeah, that's how I work. But also, in defense of that album,
I love that album.
you know, at the time, it's kind of like, I don't know, you're a teenager, you just like fuck, like you get drunk and like sleep with the wrong person, like whatever, you know. So that was my like fuck it moment, and it was truly what I wanted to do at the time. I was like I've always been so into hip hop, like always, since I was since I was so young. And I remember when I was 19, like my songs were more like R&B hip hop, and Bjorn was like, cut that, you know. So I had to kind of control that I'm like listening to hip hop on the side and like twerking, you know. So I was like, fuck it, you know, it's coming out. And then maybe it's not timeless, but it was honest at the time.
And so you went back to Bjorn for this album?
I went back on my knees to Bjorn and like, sorry, you know. Yeah.
Did the isolation of lockdown, did it change the direction of the album or anything to sort of do with how it finished product?
Well, the thing is, I kind of already knew that I wanted to make like a voice memo album. So we already were doing that. So it was me and him in my living room, like just in the moment, everything. So then what was hard was when lockdown happened, I had all the demos, which basically is this, and I just added like layers of things. But I couldn't travel, so I was stuck in America for a year and a half, kind of like really going nuts in my house, just like dreaming of like one day I will mix it. And I had to wait for like months and months and months, and also deciding like, should I scrap this? Should I like work on Zoom? But I really didn't want to, like I don't even like to FaceTime. So I like didn't want to do anything if it's not in the room, so I had to wait for like the whole pandemic basically.
And also you'd set out this sort of parameter of rules which I'd like you to go into. Like, was the danger like when you were left with this album to just keep adding stuff?
Totally, and I was like, oh, maybe I can send it to someone, they can like chop it up and like make it a hit or something. But no, I was quite adamant that this was for me, for like the person I was and am. Like I love things that are really raw.
So what were the rules? You say yourself?
I mean, we broke the rules, of course, but like it was only me in the room, no engineer, no headphones, no click tracks, like no copy pasting, no digital instruments, like basically only me and him and synthesizer, so we couldn't like, no, strings or quiet, like we can only use these things. This is the palette, this is the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the album it mentions films quite a few times, like you and I you sort of talked about, and he was on in the background, like it talks about the sort of ideas that maybe films give us about sort of love and
I think it's more the I don't know if you have this or you have this, when I fall in love, I'm like, it's like the movie started, I'm like panning out, like it's more that I've been living in that world, like I'm always like making scenes in my head, so it's more, the references to the movies is more like the ideas that we have about love and relationships or the person, which I feel we kind of do a lot of times. We have like an image, and it's like, you're like, no, this is not in the script that you go, like we're trying to control.
Does living in LA help with that?
Which part?
This sort of filmic sense that you're sort of wandering around Hollywood in a...
I don't wander around.
What do you do in LA? Just hang out?
Macrodose, mostly. I play tennis. I mean, I'm quite a recluse.
Okay.
I'm there with like Theo, and like we're talking about like art and how much we hate America.
Just up in the hills,
yeah.
plotting away.
Totally.
So we need to talk about the sort of visual element, because as you said, they're not videos, are they? They are loops that don't sort of require...
They're loops, I don't know, they're the future,
Were you inspired by sort of... I mean, even when you go on Spotify and you sort of play a song and you look on your phone, it just plays a bit of a video. Is it that kind of thing?
Yes, that like that's the world we live in. So like, why make a 4-minute video when actually like no one watches more than like 1 minute?
What's your attention span like in general?
I mean, I am quite. I'm worried about myself and everyone else. I can barely. I mean, it's true. Like I used to read so many books, and like I kind of can't concentrate anymore. So yeah, I am really worried.
It's an album that sort of, if you let it play, it loops back on itself, which I guess continues this theme.
Yeah.
And even saying that, like an album to be listened to from start to finish feels quite weird now in an era of streaming and playlists and TikTok.
And Spotify totally fucked my whole thing up.
Because it puts in...
Because you have to do like track marks, and I'm like, but I spent like 5 months like doing the parts in between, so it's a bit annoying that like I make this thing and then the world is just another place.
Are you one of those artists that sort of like you will listen to this album from start to finish?
That's why I brought them here.
Like you're the only one.
I wish there was different circumstances, but yeah, I'm forcing a few people to.
But did it make it hard to select singles or tracks that would come out
singles.
first?
It's like completely unsuccessful.
But you put out 2 songs already. Was it hard to select which ones kind of came out of the story?
Because the way that I made the story was very much like a movie to me, and I was very clear about like what the scenes and when. So the reason why I put the 2 songs out that are out, it's not because they're maybe the best or something like that. It's because it's the premise. Like No Hotel is the absolute first song I wrote, and those opening lines to me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there. And then, you know, that's only guitar and me, and then the second song is like electric guitar, and then on Highway it's like from my living room and like staring at my dirty laundry, I'm like panning into like the movie and the soundscape and the synth. So it's like strategic. But I don't know if anyone liked it, you know?
We'll find out in a sec.
Yeah.
Has making it been cathartic in terms of your relationship with sort of heartbreak and this sort of whole concept of what you've been exploring? Do you feel like you've learned?
Yeah, for sure. But I'm also curious because for me it's like very useful to do this type of things for my personal life, but I like don't understand how people who don't make albums about their ex move on.
Yeah. Do they just write it in a...
Like, what do you do?
Yes. That's what they do. They play them your album. And...
You know? So...
Well, why don't we ask the audience if they have any questions?
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
I have 3. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you and Liv only released. Yeah.
Oh.
I hope that's okay.
Yeah,
you and Liv only released 4 songs. Did you
Yeah.
guys make any more? Any plans to release more?
We made many more. The thing about Live too, we kind of made it as like an installation that's like there's no release date. So there's a lot of songs, but there's like we didn't make it for, you know, to fit into like we're kind of, I don't know, we're like someone is like dealing with like a divorce or like a dead cat or like on tour. So there's a lot of really great songs that we
I hope
sometimes
we'll
put on.
listen. I love them.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What prompted the change in record labels, if I can ask?
Well, I think on the last album, I actually asked to be dropped. It was mutual. And I wanted, I felt a little bit I felt quite always that I've been in a world where there's some type of expectation that I'm going to like get on the radio or something. And it's never really, I don't like the radio or like that, anything in that world. So I think I just wanted to be in a place where people actually truly care about the art and great music and not have an expectation of like some Spotify thing, you know?
And you mentioned microdosing a couple of times. How did that and transcendental meditation feed into the creation of the album, if at all?
Very much so. I don't know if you heard on the album, there's quite a few moments that is just like music and especially, for example, when you do ayahuasca, I don't know if you...
Interested.
There's, you know, you basically close your eyes and like music, there's a lot of like icaros and prayers, so music very much when you're in those ceremonies is kind of like the stairway to heaven and what allows you to like travel to another dimension. So when I was feeling those things, I was like, shit, I want the album to like go there where I've been.
Thank you.
First of all, I got shivers throughout the whole listening, so congrats on this.
Good.
which song in your incredible discography would you like to carry your legacy forward?
Like from this album or for everything?
Your entire discography.
There's a few that I still am like, okay, that's an okay song. I Never Learn. I'm Never Gonna Love Again.
Yeah.
Like super uplifting. You know? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So I have noticed that in a lot of your songs you reference to water, and for like Hard Rain, Deep End, and Gunshot, all of these songs. And when I first saw the title I thought about tears, and I thought that was a reference to water again. And also when I listened to the album, when I closed my eyes, it was almost like I saw you drowning slowly.
Oh, great.
In a very good poetic way. And also,
I love it.
It's like almost like.
I hope that's not what you guys felt. Like, slowly.
Yes, but in a girl, I'm Swedish.
No, I'm
like
joking.
you,
I
so
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know if you feel like this has something to do with you being a Pisces and having like the water element.
I think so. Unfortunately, it's a bit like cheesy, I guess, but yes, I think so. And especially what is hard whenever I do a video, I'm always like, it needs to be in the rain or like wet. So I haven't done one music video where I don't get like tuberculosis at the end because I have to like be in water for hours. Yeah.
Anyone else? Any questions? Yes.
So on your previous album, you worked with an array of songwriters like Rostam Gleej, Jeff Basker. What was it like going back to working with just one person for this album?
Well, the interesting thing about my last album was I felt that I never really went to like songwriting school, and when I was making the last album, it was like that's very much how LA is. It's like everyone's like very much making sessions and like working, and there's a craft to songwriting. There's like tricks. So I learned so much from these like very talented people. So when I came back to Bjorn, I had some like. I went to songwriting school, basically.
Is it when you went back to him having gone off to try other people? Is it like, what's the relationship there like? Is it sort of, oh, you're back? Or was he like, welcome?
I mean, he doesn't pretend like the other album exists. He's like, like, he just, like, whatever, like, next, you know? So, it was beautiful coming back. Like, very beautiful. And, like, we have a thing.
And I guess it's another loop, isn't it, in a way? It's another sort of circular.
Yeah, he was my first. I mean, he taught me everything back in the day, yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Sorry, I'm quite soft-spoken. I just wanted to say that your music has really gotten me through like my entire university experience. It's been a very I've gone through your whole album from start to finish pretty much every single day. So thank you for that. But
thank you.
I just wanted to ask, how do you find getting your emotions out in art? Like, how do you get through that and the criticism? Because it's something that's quite personal to people, and you know, when I write things, I find that I'm quite sensitive to people discussing their feelings about it, and I find it quite distressing when they say things that are quite personal to me as well.
Yeah, well, I think you have to kind of, I'm not super excited to like read, you know, the reviews or, I don't know, I feel like for me, I think the thing is you have to really be very clear when you work, like, am I doing this for me? Like, is this exactly what I want? Like, when I work, I'm very much like, is this true? Do I feel something? So I'm kind of only tuning into my own, like, what I think. So in this case, for me, I like this album. But I think the hard thing is when you know that you were wavering a bit, then you hear critique, then it's hard. But like if someone doesn't like you, like whatever. Yeah. I barely like anyone.
Who were you listening to while you were making this album, or did you sort of consume a lot of music while you were doing this?
Yeah, I was listening to like Brian Eno, obviously, and kind of like this. There's a Swedish movie that's called Bröderna Lejonhjärta that's like a children's movie, and the title track is like Hammond organs, like super analog, super trippy. So like a lot of kind of analog synth music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Yes.
Hi, I'm not just a fan of your music, but I feel like your art and your iconography is very important to what you do. Are there any artists that you're a fan of? And can I ask if Tracy Emin is one of them?
Yes, actually
Yes.
for this one very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for this album, I was like also trying to deal with like, I mean, I think this is something that is, I don't know really how to deal with this, but like to kind of age, to be honest, like I used to be so young, like I used to be Billie Eilish basically, you know? I mean, I didn't have so many fans, but I used to be really young, and then now I'm in a place where like I'm not, so then for me I'm also trying to look like who do I respect as women, and in the music industry there's very few people that get to like exist in that space with dignity and freedom, so I was very much inspired by like Marina Abramovic, Cindy Sherman, Tracy Emin, like Merlene Dumas, like so many, Louise Bourgeois, like female artists truly that get to just like be a bad bitch forever.
How long does it take you to decide on like the cover image?
Oh, that was really, that took a lot because we thought that we were gonna shoot, like let's shoot it when we do the videos, and then we didn't. I wanted the album cover to really kind of like, you could see my like desperation, feverish, like hunger for love, which I think like Tracy Emin too, like it reeks of like this hunger to be loved. And I wanted it to be like in the world between a painting or a still. So actually we were gonna shoot on the roof in the rain, but then something happened with the camera. So this was just, I was actually sick and like wearing no makeup, and I was like, let's just do a quick test right now. And then it was like, I'm like, that's, like I look ill, you know, it's not like super flattering, but it's that.
Yeah, that rawness.
Yeah.
Of the music. Any more questions? Well, oh yeah.
How would you rank all of your albums?
How would I rank them?
From best to worst.
Top 5, here we go.
That, like, how would I cannot answer that. You know, like I'm probably not gonna like this one so much longer either. So, like, can you do like point arrow something?
Pitchfork style. Well, if that's all the questions. Oh. Oh yes.
First of all, I thought it was banging.
Oh, thank you. You have to listen to it like maybe quite a lot more. It's not like a
vinyl.
Oh yeah.
Good, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk sort of a lot about like cyclical thing and like love and then heartbreak. Or like, what is your actual views on love? Do you believe that you can have that love for the rest of your life? And then would you ever write an album about that, or is it just heartbreak because you're fuel that you need to do music?
I mean, I do believe in love. I don't know, like, there's, I mean, it's like, I don't know if you can have anything lifelong. That would be beautiful. And I am very happy in something, and I don't feel like writing. Like, I only write when I'm quite crushed. But I have had many happy times in my life, believe it or not. Yeah.
Do you write with like 4 other people? Would you write for
I
some
would
other
love.
artists?
My dream is to to do
Some of those sessions and
yeah.
big pop ones in LA.
Yeah, I would love.
Who would you like to do that with?
I mean, I would die, but I mean, it's like so stupid, but like, I probably will never happen, but like, Rihanna, you know what I mean?
I can see
You have
that.
to dream big, you know?
Yeah, surely
Yeah.
Max Martin's in LA, you could just toddle
Yeah,
off down
like
to
she, I would love, yeah.
Well, if that's all, I think we're...
One more.
One more.
Hello.
Oh.
Hi.
Okay, so as you're going to be performing the new album, obviously
Yeah.
live, going around, when you create the set list for the album,
Yeah.
you have to cut down the other songs from the other albums. This one's quite a short album.
I know.
Are you going to go into some deep cuts, hanging high? Whilst
No.
Oh,
No.
cheeky.
It's gonna be hard, this one, because the idea is that I'm gonna make it more like a 2-act, like you have to suffer through the first, I mean, this album, and like really, and then kind of end in a hit parade, but I only have 1 hit, so I'm gonna
The remix is quite long.
Exactly.
To be honest, it
Like,
could go on
turn
for the
it
second
on.
half.
So I think I need more there's very little drums on this, so like some more drums. Yeah, but I would love to hear your suggestions.
Never gonna love again.
Midnight.
Oh, it's so
You know?
good though.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
Really?
Gunshot.
No, baby
Maybe
doves.
that one.
That's a
You
thing.
know? Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think we're done. Are we done?
I don't
7
know,
p.m.
you know.
curfew.
Yeah.
Everyone home. Well, you should say thank you because they're not
Oh,
here for
thank
me.
you. Thank you so much.